So this next exercise is called the Tandem Balance. This is obviously an exercise to help improve our balance. What we need if you're in your home, we're lucky here we've got this great balance beam, but we need a place where we can put our hands on, say, a counter. You might be able to practice this also in the corner of a room with your hands on either wall. Either having one hand on the counter or both hands on the counter, just so that if you do feel like you're losing your balance, you've got somewhere to place your hands. So I'll place my hand up here on the bar. If you're at home, putting either both hands on your counter or one hand, and then we're going to take one foot and bring it just slightly in front of the other. So the feet are parallel, but they're very close together. And now I want you to shift your weight forward and back and see if you can find that spot right in the centre where you feel like your weight is even on both legs. And now relax your knees a little bit. We want to avoid locking out the knees. So this balance test is to see how long we can stay here without holding on. So this is our first stage. If you find that this is too challenging for you, the very first stage would be coming back to just practicing having your feet together. So let's bring that foot forward again. And now we want to think about our posture. Our weight needs to be right over our feet. One of the reasons why we can become more at risk of falling is that our centre of gravity is slightly forward. So let's bring it back so that the shoulders are over the hips. We stand tall through the top of the head. Just relax the other arm. And when you're ready, take your hand off the counter and then just see how comfortable it is for you to stand there and balance. And you might find that there's a sensation in the feet, in the knees, maybe in the hips, of muscles trying to work hard just to keep you balanced. Our body just normally sways a little from side to side and front to back, but we want to try and stay as still as possible. So if you've got a phone, a timer that you can set up in front of you, set it for a minute, and then if, for example, you lose your balance, you pop your hand down. When you're ready, go again. Take the hand off and see if you can get to that minute with one foot in front of the other. And then we'll place the hand back onto the counter, bring the foot in, and then you'd repeat that exercise with the other leg. So trying to do it 1 minute on one leg, 1 minute on the other. The more challenging position is to have one foot right in front of the other. So I'm going to show you that with the other side. So we bring heel to toe and imagine that you're on a tightrope. And same thing, we shift our weight, we get the weight right in the centre. Bring the other arm down, think about your posture, standing up tall. And then when you're ready, see if you can just take the hands off the counter. Just keep the fingertips above the counter in case you need it. And then notice what's happening with the feet. There's this normal transfer of weight from the base of the big toe to the little toe to the heel. And we also want to be mindful of not scrunching up the toes, so just relaxing the feet. You'll find that all the way up the body, there's a lot going on to keep us balanced, but challenging ourselves with this particular exercise also helps us when we're out in the real world and we might be going off balance, but we're used to practicing to bring everything back to the centre. It only takes a minute on each leg, so this is something that we could be doing every day. All right, and now bring the feet together. Let's just walk the legs out because that can also be quite tiring trying to stand still. The next progression to that is walking tandem. So we would be taking that same position as we did in the beginning with the feet slightly staggered, using the counter as support if you need it, and making those small steps going forward. The other option, as I mentioned, is you could be going into your tandem balance where you're imagining you're walking on a tightrope. So find that position that works best for you. Let's stay here. Keep your hand on the counter. Let's see if you can do the same thing moving backwards. So we might take 4 or 5 steps going forward and 4 or 5 steps going back. And when you're feeling more confident, you might try and practice that without holding on. You always know that the counter's there to give you a hand. And you might practice doing that 4 or 5 times and then taking a break. If you feel like it's a little bit overwhelming, just do a couple of times and then see how you go and progress over time, doing a little bit more. Especially that walking backwards, because if we're training our body and our brain to move in that way, it's a little bit less daunting when we're out in the real world and we have to take a step back. Our reaction time is really important, and that's another part of having good balance. So that was your balance exercises.